Hello and welcome to this episode of Stories with Nidhi Bruce. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Today's topic is very simple. It's all about quantum leaps. Now, you may or may not have heard the term quantum leaps, so don't worry, I'm going to define it for you before I start. What is a quantum leap? Have you ever heard of it before? Some of you might have heard of it, but don't believe in such a concept. Some of you might swear by quantum leaps. Some of you may be wondering, why am I talking about a concept which is related to physics? Some of you might not have got any clue of what I'm blabbering about. So, without much ado, what is a quantum leap? So, the dictionary definition of a quantum leap is a huge, often sudden increase or advance in something. Okay, so a huge and often sudden being the operative word, a huge and sudden increase or advance in something. Some people also say it's an abrupt change or a sudden increase. So the operative words are literally related to time and the literal increase. So the increase is the extent to which the change happens, right? So that is basically what a quantum leap means. It's like when you're saying that I expected to go from point A to point B in this much time. I went from point A to point B and actually surpassed point B in a faster amount of time, right? So that's like a quantum leap. And why is a quantum leap so interesting? Because it defies the laws of time and expectation, right? So one usually expects to cross a certain distance. Now, of course, the distance that we're talking about is metaphorical. We're not talking about running. We're talking about getting ahead in life or getting from a particular point in life to another expected point in life in a faster time, right? So, for example, if just to speak in basic monetary terms, if you're saying that, okay, today I'm earning $50,000 in a year, I want to move to earning $1 million a year. So that's a huge leap. And if someone makes it in, say, like 12 months or 6 months, then that becomes a quantum leap because that's a little bit of an unexpected jump. So that's what is called a quantum leap. And now a quantum leap has actually been a kind of a buzzword, or quantum leaping has become a buzz thing. Over the last couple of years, people have understood that the historical, or when I say historical, I mean the current definition of time, which is Newtonian time, is not necessarily true. And what I mean by that is that we've been using time as a very measured way of looking at things. So we expect certain things to take certain amount of time. But when we look at time from the aspect of quantum physics, as were the case, we look at time shape-shifting in a way that is much faster and more unpredictable than what one would have expected if one was to look at it from Newtonian lens. Okay, so now that seems like a lot of words, lot of, concepts which I'm throwing at you. And if it doesn't make sense, then I am totally to blame, because it is such an interesting thing that it is literally inexplicable. Now, for example, let me give you an example from my own life. Okay, so for me, when I look back at my coaching journey, it seems like it was such a long journey with so many ups and downs and so many tugs and pulls. And I feel like, I've been doing this forever, literally. And incidentally, this morning I was looking at a couple of old pictures which popped up in my phone. Usually my iPhone gives me a reminder of memories, right? It shows me memories from like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I got a memory from 6 years ago, and I looked at it and realized that 6 years ago, I was a mother of 2 kids. And I looked very different for sure. I was running a completely different business. I was in a completely different time and space. Completely. I was a completely different person. This was 6 years ago. And I was like, okay, 6 years is literally not a lot of time. Even in Newtonian time, it's not a really long time. Fast forward to 3 years ago, even 3 years ago, I was a very, very different person. The way I approached things, the way I approached the world, the way I interpreted what was happening around me was very different. I had not even begun my coaching journey that time, right? So that's just 3 years ago. 3 years, that feels like a lot, but has transformed me it has transformed me in a way that is irreversible. It's irreversible. So the 3 years feels like a really long time in retrospect, but is only 3 years. So if you ask me what a quantum leap means, for me, this is a quantum leap. I've had a transformation in such a short period of time. Like I mentioned in the definition, it's an extreme change in an extremely short period of time. And if you had told me 3 years ago that I would be quantum leaping into my transformation in less than 3 years, actually, I would have said, what? Quantum leaping? What? Transformation? What do you mean? Right? So in retrospect, quantum leaping feels like a pretty obvious thing. In fact, now that you heard my example, you would probably find times in your life where you have gone through extreme change, extreme transformation, have had experiences which have completely turned the course of your life. And while they were happening, you would have thought of it as, it would have felt like forever. But once you look back, you thought that was only a couple of days, or was it a couple of months, or it was such a short period of time, right? So the reason why I came here today to talk about quantum leaps is because it's become a buzzword and everyone expects quantum leaps to be like this magical thing, this magical portal, and you'll find people talking about quantum portals and stuff like that. And that's good, that's fine. It's good to have your attention towards these things, simply because I realized that we quantum leap in our lives so many times. And as always, quantum leaping is a mix of a lot of ingredients coming together, serendipitously for most of us. However, when we put our intention behind quantum leaping, then it becomes so much more obvious for us. However, at the same time, the caveat is that a lot of us who quantum leap with purpose, saying that, okay, I'm going to move from, let's go back to the example of going from $50,000 to $1 million a year. You put a timeline to it. Now, here's the thing. A quantum leap does not like a timeline. The whole point of a quantum leap is not to adhere to any limits of time. So once you say that in a year I'm going to jump from 50,000 to 1 million, the quantum leap probably, the mysterious ways in which the universe works, it could have probably done it for you in a lesser time. And then it's like, oops, the timeline she's giving me is a year. And the other thing is that, we don't realize that quantum leaps in our life are a result of various machinations or changes that happen across the board, right? It's for us to move from point A to point B. There are so many things that have to rearrange and reorganize and change around us in our environment. So that takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of shifting around, moving around. We ourselves need to recalibrate in order to be able to accept that new level. Our biology, our bodies, our nervous system need to be able to regulate ourselves to be able to accept that new level. Just imagine if today I'm earning $50,000 a year, and tomorrow suddenly somebody says, okay, now you're earning $1 million. That would be a shock to my system. I would not be used to it. I've written about this in my book, I might end up going and just giving it away or spending it or not knowing how to use that $1 million, because that requires a recalibration. Now, I'm not saying that recalibration is not possible, but it is possible. So when we are talking about leaping from one level to the other, the example I have been giving, of course, is of monetary quantum leaping, but it could be anything. It could be health, right? So, for example, if I want to lose weight, if I say that, I want to quantum leap from this particular weight, say, for example, it's 100 kgs and I want to lose like 25 kgs, and I say, okay, I want to quantum leap from being 100 kgs to 75 kgs in 20 days, and that happens. I don't need to tell you what happens, right? If you lose 25 kgs in 20 days, that is like a death sentence. That is insanity. Your body cannot handle that kind of a quantum leap. Okay, so every quantum leap comes with a lot of reorganization and repositioning, and it's not that it's not possible. So if it be money, or if it be health, or if it be any other aspect of your life, quantum leaps are not just possible, they are happening. But we have to refrain from putting a timeline to the quantum leap, just because a quantum leap is oblivious to the workings of our timelines, which is our Newtonian timelines, our way of looking at time, which is basically 24 hours, 7 days, 1 month, 1 year. All of this does not matter in the quantum field. In the quantum field, if you desire something, and you have your intention set, and you've got yourself aligned to getting to that place, it will happen. It will happen faster than you think, because when it happens and you look back, you'll say that how fast it happened. But right now, putting a timeline to it is not really a very clever strategy, right? So this is something that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if I spoke about it very eloquently or explained it very well, but I think it kind of made sense. I sort of made sense. I love this topic. I love quantum leaps. And like I said, I've just realized today that, things have shifted and changed so fast for me over the last couple of years that it seems incredible. But through the process of it happening, I didn't realize that that's what was happening. Right? So the reason I'm actually doing this podcast today is because I feel that there is a metamorphosis again happening in my life. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, where it's going to lead, but it is happening. There have been a couple of triggers, be it in relation to my physical health, be in relation to some lifestyle changes which are happening around me, but things are shifting, things are moving. And now I've become a little bit more observant. And another thing I want to say is that sometimes it's not pleasant. Metamorphosis is sometimes, or always actually, not pleasant. If you have ever seen a butterfly try to work its way out of the cocoon, so the transformation of a caterpillar into a butterfly, that transformation is a painful transformation. It's a beautiful transformation to behold, but for the caterpillar which is turning into a butterfly, it is a painful process. It really has to push out of the cocoon, because it is in the process of the pushing out that it becomes a butterfly. It is where it gets its strength. In fact, if you help a butterfly get out of its cocoon, it will die, right? So transformation can be painful, transformation can be uncomfortable, transformation can look like everything is falling apart and collapsing, and it can literally feel like death, but it's not. So holding that belief in mind, I'm right now looking at these little tidbits of discomfort and how do I call it, things that I can't explain are happening around me, but I know that there is something afoot. Because I have been very clear on my desires and my, if I say so, goals, my vision for myself. So I'm really looking forward to how this is going to pan out for me. But yes, I'm sure when I look back, there's going to be a quantum leap that I'll be looking at. So that's the reason why I decided to come here and share with you about my understanding of quantum leaps, about how we should not connect it with our simple understanding of Newtonian time, and how we can always look back and see how many quantum leaps that we've had in our life as proof that quantum leaps actually do exist in the real world. I hope you had fun listening to me today. And if you enjoyed the show, do leave me your comments. I'd love to hear back from you. If you like my show, do press follow, because I'm coming up with more interviews. So you will hear more voices than just mine. And we're going to have a lot of fun on Stories with Nidhi Bruce. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you're in the world. Have fun. Take care of yourself. God bless you. See you next time. Bye-bye.